winter to sweep through parts of Saskatchewan, what Mother Nature has in store. Forced to move, why a local retailer says she feels shortchanged. And rev for classic cars. We meet a group of women putting their passion project into high gear.
This is CTV News with Chantel Saunders.
Good evening. We begin tonight with the weather. A late season Alberta Clipper is expected to bring several centimetres of snow to parts of central and northern Saskatchewan. CTV's Stacey Hine now on what we can expect with this weather system.
It seems like spring is starting to peek through in Saskatoon with only patches of snow left. But winter isn't done just yet. An Alberta Clipper is set to bring several centimetres of snow to parts of central and northern Saskatchewan. And for some, it's a frustrating setback.
The weather is making me quite miserable. We had a very hard winter.
Feels brutal this year.
Yeah. It's tired and played out. I'm tired.
Environment Canada says snowfall is expected to begin early Tuesday morning and continue overnight. Saskatoon is expected to see a mild start to the day with rain or wet snow before cold front moves in.
By Tuesday night, it does look like a good swath of probably about 5 to 10 centimetres for the Saskatoon area.
Meteorologist Chris Stammer says areas from Meadow Lake to Prince Albert and southeast towards Yorkton could see about 15 to 20 centimetres as the system moves through the province. He says the conditions are not unusual for this time of year as cold Arctic air continues to move into the region.
We're still seeing cold air coming down from the north, and that will turn things over to snow pretty easily with these systems.
In southern areas of the province, Stammer says residents can expect rain, milder temperatures, and some instability.
There might even be a chance of some lightning strikes further to the south as well as we go down towards Regina.
Stammers urges travelers to check for weather updates and the highway hotline for the latest conditions.
Certainly expect travel to be poor north of Saskatoon. Further south, it should generally be pretty mild, so not expecting huge travel impacts to the south.
He says the snow won't stick around for long, with many areas of the province set to warm up later this week. Stacey Hine, CTV News, Saskatoon.
Well, Jeff, we were warned that the snow was coming.
Yes, we were warned the snow was coming, and it is coming. And in fact, it's not like a Saskatchewan situation. This is going to extend from parts of northern BC right through northern Alberta, down, not exactly along the Yellowhead, but darn close, but certainly in that angle across Saskatchewan into Manitoba, the Interlake region. Right now, it looks as though the east central part of Saskatchewan into the Manitoba Interlake region, that's the area that may see the greatest amount of accumulation. But, you know, Mother Nature could change her mind, so we'll see about that a little later on.
One person is dead and 3 others seriously injured following a crash in Saskatoon over the weekend. Emergency crews were called just after 3 o'clock Saturday morning to the westbound off-ramp to Highway 16 from Ottawa Drive where the crash happened. 3 people were thrown from the vehicle with 1 trapped inside. A 24-year-old man died at the scene. 2 other men aged 21 and 24 along with a 22-year-old woman were all taken to hospital with serious injuries. Traffic was rerouted for several hours while investigators worked at the scene. Firefighters found 1 person dead while fighting a house fire on Friday. It happened in the 400 block of Avenue I South. Fire crews found 1 person dead inside the home. Fire inspectors are working to determine the cause as well as the origin. In Regina, the home of a die-hard football fan was damaged during a weekend fire. Rough Riders fan Wayne Kuntz has been hosting Winnipeg Blue Bombers fans at his home on Garnet Street for more than 20 years, a place affectionately known as Wayne's World Tailgate Party. His daughter set up a GoFundMe page saying the home was damaged by fire on Saturday. Regina Fire and Protective Services says the fire began in an attached shed on the property before spreading to the home. The cause is being investigated. Health officials have issued an overdose alert for the Onion Lake area. The Onion Lake Cremation says it has seen a significant increase in suspected overdoses in recent days. Over the weekend, the Ministry of Health issued the alert saying there is concern of a more dangerous substance or contaminated batch of drugs circulating in the area. No fatalities have been reported, but officials say the situation remains serious and ongoing and advise community members to check on friends, family, and others in the community. The University Bridge is now closed for the next several weeks. The bridge will be closed until mid-June for repairs on top and underneath. Emergency vehicles will be the only ones allowed on the bridge during that time. After that, it will reopen to one lane in each direction until mid-July. Major construction for transit platforms is also going to be done along College Drive, so the road will be fully closed between Clarence Avenue to Hospital Drive. Then crews will move from Hospital Drive to Cumberland Avenue to keep building more link stations. On the other side of the bridge, there will be water main repairs on 25th Street from the end of May until the end of September. Today marks 8 years since the Humboldt Broncos bus crash that claimed 16 people and injured 13. Tonight, the community's mayor is sharing more details about the memorial that is in the works at the crash site. Work is now focused on preparing the site along the highway where the crash happened. Crews are currently working on grading and concrete installation with paving expected this summer. The memorial is being guided largely by families of those affected, with a committee chaired by Humboldt Mayor Rob Minch. Plans include a sheltered structure with seating, while the final design elements remain undecided. The goal is to create a meaningful space that reflects the wishes of the families, with hopes the site could be completed in time for the 10th anniversary of the tragedy. Funding for the project has come entirely through donations, with local businesses also contributing services.
I think people just feel the need to preserve the memory of those that were lost, and to make sure their names aren't forgotten, and what they, not only they're as hockey players or people involved with the hockey team, but what they did in their regular lives. That's a big part of who they were.
Minch says the memorial is not only about remembering those lost, but also recognizing the local, national, and global support that followed the crash. He adds the community remains grateful for the donations and outreach that have helped make the project possible. A Saskatchewan father who withheld his daughter from her mother to prevent the girl from getting the COVID-19 vaccine was back in court today, appealing his conviction to a panel of justices. Sierra D'Souza Butts has the arguments from both sides.
A Saskatchewan man convicted of parental child abduction for preventing his daughter from getting a COVID-19 vaccine was back in court Monday morning, appealing his case. Michael Gordon Jackson withheld his then 7-year-old daughter from her mother for nearly 100 days from December 2021 to February 2022 to prevent the child from getting a vaccination. Jackson was then tried and found guilty in late 2024 of contravention of a custody order.
They're saying that 2.5 months of my wife not seeing my daughter was far greater harm than the side effects of the vaccine. Now, I'm not saying everybody suffered effects from the vaccine, because there's lots of people who got it and had no issues, but there's lots of people who did.
On Monday, the defense presented its case for Jackson to have a retrial and a reduced sentence, arguing the trial judge failed to consider Jackson's motivations for taking his daughter, stating there was no other legal alternatives, adding Jackson attempted to take the matter to court twice during the months leading up to the charge.
Because I've been fighting in this appeal court for years against these same judges who are ruling and making these decisions, ruling me out of my daughter's life.
The Crown argued Jackson was aware of lawful alternatives but chose not to pursue them, saying Jackson admitted during the trial when he was representing himself that he felt the court was biased towards the vaccine and against fathers. The court has reserved its decision, meaning the judges will consider the Crown and defense submissions before deciding whether a retrial will take place or not. Sierra D'Souza Butts, CTV News, Regina.
A business owner who sells locally made products from Saskatchewan says she's been blindsided by an eviction notice. CTV's Laura Woodward now on why she's being forced out.
Janelle Anderson says she was given just 30 days to close her store inside Midtown Plaza.
We just know that it is a permanent tenant who wants our space.
Handmade Saskatchewan has been in Midtown for about 5 years.
Sales were good.
Anderson says she's tried to secure a long-term lease, but was told her business model isn't sustainable. She calls the eviction unfair, saying the store was profitable and never missed rent.
Really disappointed. My first thoughts, obviously, my staff that I have to let go, and all of the vendors that we had in the store. It was a steady form of income for many of them.
CTV News reached out to Midtown Plaza for answers, including the reason for the eviction and who's moving in. But in a statement, Midtown said it can't comment on the situation. Meanwhile, a new store has confirmed it's moving into the mall.
We started off with one location and we've been working incredibly hard.
Shopmakers says it plans to open in Midtown later this spring or early summer, but can't say if it's taking over Anderson's space.
I totally understand how upsetting it would be for any business to feel like that they were kicked out of a mall or didn't have their lease renewed. But these decisions are firmly in the hands of the mall.
The company sells locally made products and has more than 15 stores across Canada, including one planned to open in Regina this month.
Nice. Well, thank you.
Handmade Saskatchewan operates on commission, while Shopmakers charges monthly rent for shelf space. Anderson says many of her vendors can't afford that type of model.
It's really unfortunate.
Shopmakers says it's happy to coexist with other handmade stores and does not use non-compete clauses in its Canadian leases.
We may seem like a bigger company. At the end of the day, we are a small business as well. You know, the business is owned by myself, my fiance Veronica, and my brother.
April 30th marks Handmade Saskatchewan's last day in Midtown. Laura Woodward, CTV News, Saskatoon.
Health experts who rely on helium say the war in the Middle East is affecting supplies. The Saskatchewan Health Authority says it has been warned by its supplier that allocations of liquid helium will be reduced by 50%. Liquid helium is used as a coolant for MRI machines and nuclear magnetic resonance spectrometers used in research. Canada's largest liquid helium distributor, Air Liquide, has also warned its supply is being cut by 50% and prices are going up. A spokesperson says there's no immediate impact on patient care, but researchers who rely on the gas say they've been warning about supply issues for years. Saskatchewan is again setting new records for home prices thanks to low inventory on the market. In Saskatoon, the benchmark price hit a new all-time high of $435,200 in March, up 5% since the same month last year. The Saskatchewan Realtors Association says new listings in the city improved slightly year over year, but are still well below 10-year trends and has the tightest housing market in the province with just over a month and a half of supply heading into the busy spring season. Regina saw prices rise 6% over the last year. A development plan for Canada's largest AI data centre to be built in Saskatchewan has been submitted to the local RM. Construction on the $12 billion project is expected to begin later this year near Regina. The plan will be discussed at next week's meeting of the RM Council. But as Wayne Mantika tells us, recent resignations may leave the council without the needed quorum to approve the plan.
Plans for the massive AI data center call for a facility that is largely self-sufficient. The RM of Sherwood has now posted an executive summary of a development plan that addresses concerns like power, water, and noise. This gravel road off the end of Wascana Parkway near Sask Polytechnic will provide primary access to the AI data center. It will be widened and paved to heavy haul standard, with the developer assuming the cost. The plant itself will use a continuous loop cooling system, requiring no water beyond the commissioning stage. Stormwater and sewage will be managed on site. Components capable of generating sound will be located away from property lines, ensuring that neighbors continue to enjoy country living. A power substation will be privately owned, along with a future natural gas power plant. The project by Bell, the parent company of CTV News, was announced at a ceremony last month. It will receive no government subsidy and promises tax revenue and jobs for both the province and the RM of Sherwood. The development plan will be discussed at next week's meeting of the RM Council. However, the majority of that council recently resigned over what is believed to be an unrelated matter. The provincial government is expected to fill some of those vacancies through ministerial order before the next meeting. Wayne Mantika, CTV News, Regina.
Saskatoon is seeing an abundance of bunnies right now, stray rabbits abandoned by their owners. But as Alison Bamford reports, local organizations are working hard to rehouse them.
Out of a travel carrier,
let's go,
and into an exercise pen. These bunnies are basking in the sun. They were once someone's pets before Donna Barth took them in.
These are all tame pet rabbits that are found on the streets of Saskatoon.
This time of year, the River Hayes Street Rabbit Rescue sees a rush of bunnies come into their care.
This is Freddie.
Freddie is one of 8 rabbits rescued in the last 3 weeks. Then there's Tanisha and siblings Egg and McMuffin, who came in this winter.
And they're just little 5-week-old bunnies with no winter coat, found in a snowbank.
In the last 8 years, Barth has helped rescue 145 rabbits, abandoned by their owners. She's managed to rehome most of them.
People see the wild ones outside and say they can survive outside, and then they just let them go.
But unlike wild jackrabbits, these domestic bunnies can't survive harsh conditions.
I see them very similar to having a dog or a cat. They make really good pets when you understand kind of how they work.
Pet rabbits need space to roam and 24-hour access to feed. They end up in the streets, Barth says, when people bite off more than they can chew.
There's a lot of care that goes into looking after rabbits, and I think it gets to be too much.
Stray rabbits are a problem in many provinces, posing a risk of overpopulation. Some parks in Vancouver are overrun with invasive rabbits that the city says are the offspring of abandoned pets. And feral rabbits have been reported across Alberta.
It's pretty sad to see.
Now, these cute critters can seem like a great Easter present, but Barth says it's important people do their research before committing.
Let's go.
Alison Bamford, CTV News, Saskatoon.
Hundreds of people gathered in downtown Saskatoon to take part in an annual Easter ritual. The Roman Catholic Diocese of Saskatoon held its 25th annual Way of the Cross. People carried a large wooden cross to 14 stations, which include churches, justice organizations, and advocacy groups intended to mark the different moments of the day that Jesus Christ died on the cross.
Sometimes we have our partialities, or maybe we're more comfortable about hearing about one or two specific injustices, but this does a large kind of portrait of many injustices that happen in our society. So just to be a little bit more aware of those and how they can help with alleviating some of those sufferings.
While the event was hosted by Saskatoon's Roman Catholic Diocese, a variety of denominations were represented. Still to come, new threats from the U.S. president in the midst of the war in the Middle East. Also, the monumental moment in space, an update on the record mission. You're watching CTV News live from downtown Saskatoon. Thanks for staying with us. History has been made. Humans have now traveled farther from Earth than ever before. And as CTV's Heather Butts reports, there have been some emotional moments along the way.
From the cabin of integrity here.
A monumental moment in history and a giant leap for deep space exploration, marked in time with some poignant words by Canadian astronaut Jeremy Hansen.
As we surpass the furthest distance humans have ever traveled from planet Earth. We do so in honoring the extraordinary efforts and feats of our predecessors in human space exploration.
Part of the first crewed lunar mission in 50 years, hitting the milestone everyone has been waiting for, the farthest humans have ever traveled from Earth.
Over 55 years ago, Lovell, Swigert, and Hayes flew 248,655 statute miles away from Earth. Today, for all humanity, you're pushing beyond that frontier.
4 astronauts on board the Orion space capsule, breaking the record set in 1970 by the crew of Apollo 13. Now getting a look at parts of the moon never seen before by human eyes. As they set the record, another milestone.
The crew also called down 2 craters not yet named that they would like to name.
One called Integrity in honor of their spacecraft, and another to honor a member of their space family, astronaut Reed Weissman's late wife.
It's a bright spot on the moon. And we would like to call it Carol. And you spell that C-A-R-R-O-L-L.
The team embracing each other, an emotional moment in space.
Integrity and Carol Crater, loud and clear. Thank you.
Their lunar flyby is expected to last several hours. The wife of Canadian astronaut Jeremy Hansen sharing her perspective with me on CTV National News this weekend.
Why do you think it's important for Canadians to pay attention to this?
I really hope Canadians can see themselves in this mission. So this is the very best of human innovation and human imagination, and Canadians have earned their place alongside other international partners and, of course, Americans to be on this mission.
One this crew hopes is just the beginning.
They choose this moment to challenge this generation and the next to make sure this record is not long-lived.
For now, a communications blackout for almost an hour while they fly by the dark side of the moon. Heather Butts, CTV News, Toronto.
Donald Trump says tomorrow night's deadline for reopening the Strait of Hormuz is final or else. The U.S. president spoke today also outlining the harrowing missions to rescue 2 American airmen from enemy territory. CTV's Judy Trin reports.
As crowds gathered to watch children roll Easter eggs across the White House lawn, the U.S. president touted his war in the Middle East.
That enemy is strong. Not so strong like they were about a month ago.
The example Donald Trump cited was Iran's failure to capture 2 U.S. airmen. The F-15, a $100 million fighter jet, was shot down by a shoulder-propelled missile. The pilot was found by special forces within hours, while the weapons technician climbed up a cliff and hid for 48 hours. The White House presented his rescue as their Easter story.
Shot down on a Friday, Good Friday, hidden in a cave, a crevice, all of Saturday, and rescued on Sunday.
The Americans used 155 aircraft and launched decoys to confuse the Iranians about the location of the second airman.
Our intelligence reflects that the Iranians were embarrassed and ultimately humiliated.
The Trump administration says Iran will face further humiliation if it doesn't reopen the Strait of Hormuz on Tuesday. The White House says it will bomb critical infrastructure like bridges and power plants.
The entire country could be taken out in one night, and that night might be tomorrow night.
Meanwhile, Iran has rejected a ceasefire proposal. Trump's former national security advisor says the president is in a dilemma.
He's near meltdown. He'd love to get out of this and declare victory, but he knows he can't do it as long as the Strait of Hormuz is closed.
This war, launched by the Americans and Israelis, is entering its 6th week. So far, 3,500 people have been killed, including 1,200 members of Iran's military, including some top officials. But 13 U.S. soldiers have also died. Judy Trin, CTV News, Ottawa.
The Conservative Party has released a new ad campaign indicating a shifting strategy and message from its leader. CTV's Graham Richardson on the new approach and whether the push to rebrand will make a difference ahead of 3 by-elections in Ontario and Quebec next week.
It is more pro-Canada, less anti-liberal.
By a country that stands on its own feet.
A new campaign by Conservatives launching on Tuesday.
A country that is unbreakable.
All part of a slight reboot in tone from Poilievre.
Pierre Poilievre has always done a superb job at holding the Liberals accountable in the House of Commons, and everybody has seen that. And I think Canadians has to see other aspects of his leadership style, things that have always been there.
History showcasing a leader who is less attack dog and more personal. Here he is last week on the UK podcast Diary of a CEO, speaking about his daughter, who has autism.
She's so much fun. Like, she's a fun little girl. She loves to jump. She's scared of nothing. If anything, the problem is she's a bit too much of a daredevil.
Last week, letting media know again he's in regular contact with the Prime Minister, briefing him on his recent tour in the United States.
We're supposed to speak on the phone, and I'm going to give him a greater update.
So will this work? Pollsters suggest the Conservatives have a deep hole to dig out of, especially on leadership.
Well, I think it's going to take more than some ads, because the thing is that he's built up his brand over the last number of years. It's been very clear. It's been tough. It's been combative. And, all of a sudden, they see a bit of a softer Pierre Poilievre. It's going to take a persistent and consistent strategy.
The Nanos data suggests that Poilievre is still 30 points behind Mark Carney in who Canadians see as the best Prime Minister. Still, they believe when the Carney honeymoon ends, this new tone from Poilievre will break through with more voters. Graham Richardson, CTV News, Ottawa.
NBC's Savannah Guthrie returned to the Today Show for the first time since her mother disappeared more than 2 months ago.
Pretty shot of the sun coming up. Good morning. Welcome to Today on this Monday morning. We are so glad you started your week with us, and it is good to be home.
Yes, it is good to have.
Guthrie's co-anchor, Craig Melvin, greeted Guthrie, saying it was good to have her back at home despite an intensive search involving thousands of federal and local officials. No sign has been found of Nancy Guthrie. Authorities believe the 84-year-old was taken against her will from her Arizona home on February 1st.
If you don't know me by now. Hi, I'm Sonia Reed, and I'm really hoping that you will join us on Saturday, April the 11th. I'll be joining the Saskatoon Symphony Orchestra for our show, A Change Is Gonna Come. It's filled with recognizable and uplifting music for you, and I would love to have you in the seats. So please head over to saskatoonsymphony.org so that you can join us. Jeff, do you have good news for us on the weather?
I think I do, if you like warm weather, because that's what we have in store, Sonia, so things are looking good. I don't think any snowstorms are going to get in the way of people making their way to TCU Place for the show. Let's take a look at what we expect on Saturday. Of course, showtime is 7:30. SaskatoonSymphony.org is the website to go to. But look at that, 13 degrees. That will be about 5 degrees above seasonal, mainly cloudy skies, but there's going to be a lot of melting going on the weekend. We'll talk more about that later. Let's take a look at our current temperatures. Saskatoon right now sitting at 0 degrees. -3 in Prince Albert, and 1 under sunny skies in the Battlefords. And as you can see, the wind's really starting to pick up in the Battlefords and Saskatoon. Not so much in Prince Albert, but we do anticipate strong winds throughout the province in the next 24 hours. On to our almanac, 1 degree for Saskatoon's high today. That is 6 degrees below the seasonal average of 7. The record temperature on this day, we're remotely close, 21 degrees in 1930. The record cold temperature, -20 from 1920 and 1923. And the sun is going to go down at 7:49.
Coming up, a passion project with some female flair. We introduce you to a group of women revved about classic cars.
Green Shirt Day is tomorrow. On Your Morning Saskatchewan, we're talking about Logan Boulet's initiative that has turned into a movement and its impact here at home.
Welcome back. Taking a look through the live lens of Skycam. Well, hey, there's a bridge that's open. Yeah, it's going to be a busy bridge, no doubt. That and the Broadway Bridge as we make our way into the next few months. We've got ourselves still a lot of ice on the river, and we're going to start to see a lot more in the way of snow cover as we make our way into tomorrow. Now, a lot of this snow isn't going to stick around. We'll talk about that in a second or two. Not expecting a lot in the way of precipitation, comparatively speaking. Northern California, that's going to get some more rain. They could use it there. Their snowpack not as in good shape as it is in Western Canada up in the Rocky Mountains. But this stretch of snow, it extends right across from BC into Manitoba. We'll talk about that in a little bit here. But let's check our numbers again. 0 degrees in Saskatoon, -3 in Prince Albert, and 1 in the Battlefords under sunny skies. Maple Creek, the hotspot at 8 sizzling degrees, -31 in Key Lake. Yes, plenty of cold air out there, especially in northern areas. 1 degree in Lloydminster right now, and in Estevan. 4 on the plus side for Swift Current, -4 in Yorkton, and 2 in Regina. Into central parts of the province, temperatures ranging from -5 in Melfort up to 3 degrees. That's in Rosetown, 2 degrees in Kindersley, 1 in Meadow Lake, -1 in Hudson Bay, -3 in Nippo, and 0 in Waskesiu. Up north, temperatures do not drop off in a big way, basically around that 0 or 1 degree mark for the most part. And as we make our way down south, 6 degrees right now in Maple Creek. It's 2 in East End, 3 in Assiniboia and Cornack, 2 in Weyburn, 1 in Carlisle, -4 in Melville, -2 in Last Mountain Regional Park. Here's our futurecast. So the computer modeling indicating that low sliding across southern Saskatchewan, but dragging some snow with it now. As you can see, down towards the international border in south central Saskatchewan, yeah, we have some potential thunderstorm activity as that system slides across the Southland. But this is mostly a snow story, although depending on this time of day, we might have that snow changing to rain. But right now, snowfall warnings are in effect for parts of eastern British Columbia, through Alberta, basically the Cold Lake area into Meadow Lake, and then down along, not exactly along the Yellowhead, north of the Yellowhead, and then into Manitoba. And many of these locations could see 10 to 15 centimeters of snow. Some places, as I mentioned earlier on, towards the Manitoba border and into Manitoba, may see up to 20 centimeters of snow. So a mix of sky conditions for northern Saskatchewan, temperatures hovering around the 0 or 1 degree mark. And then we make our way into west central parts of the province. A good chance of maybe 10 to 15 centimeters of snow from Meadow Lake and Spiritwood, -2 degrees, 6 in Kindersley and Rosetown, 8 degrees. We thought they might get some rain, but right now it doesn't look that way. 10 degrees in Maple Creek with some rain. Windy conditions prevail in Leader and Swift Current, 9 degrees in Outlook. Quick look at what's going on in the southeast. 0 degrees in Yorkton, but double-digit temperatures in Regina, Moose Jaw, and Estevan. Regina, possibility of some showers, maybe even some thunderstorm activity, and maybe even south of there as well, or more likely south of there. Watrous rain and 3 degrees. We're looking at snow and -3 in Melfort, snow and -1 in Hudson Bay, and 0 in Humboldt with a rain-snow mix, or at least some flurries. Chance of some flurries in the Battlefords tonight, -2 degrees, 2 tomorrow with 2 to 4 centimeters of snow, and all is said and done. It's going to be a windy day, though. 1 degree on Wednesday, warming up to 11 on Friday, 12 on Saturday, but then dropping right off to below seasonal values on Sunday and Monday. Prince Albert's temperature, -9 degrees with windy conditions and staying windy tomorrow, and that wind is accompanied by 5 to 10 centimeters of snow. And then 2 degrees on Wednesday, and then warming up to 8 by Saturday, but then dropping off to 4 on Sunday, 1 week from today. And finally, Saskatoon, snowy and windy conditions tonight. Wind gusts up to 60 kilometers an hour. That extends into tomorrow. The rain changing to snow, maybe 5 centimeters of snow, but might be difficult to check it all, because if there's rain out there, we'll have to talk about water equivalents. But it's going to be a windy Tuesday, 4 degrees for a high, 0 on Wednesday. Thursday, we've got ourselves 6 degrees, 11 on Friday, 12 on Saturday. Sunday, though, 4 degrees and cooler than that on Monday. The Super Mario Galaxy movie blasted off at the weekend box office, garnering $131 million between Friday and Sunday, and $190 million since opening on Wednesday. Project Hail Mary lost its crown, but earned another $30.7 million, taking its domestic total to $217 million. And the drama, starring Zendaya and Robert Pattinson, opened in third place, racking up $14.4 million. A U.S. federal judge has tossed out most of Blake Lively's legal claims against Justin Baldoni following the film It Ends With Us, which they both starred in and Baldoni directed. In her civil complaint, Lively accused Baldoni of sexually harassing her during the movie's production and claimed Baldoni was behind a smear campaign against her for speaking about the alleged mistreatment. Baldoni denied the allegations. Lively made 13 claims in her lawsuit, and 3 still remain, and those will go to trial next month. And some potential good news for moviegoers, or at least movie watchers. The Writers Guild of America and the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers have announced a tentative agreement, and it comes a month before the current contract expires. The negotiating committee unanimously approved the 4-year agreement. The union membership still needs to vote on it. A 2023 strike by the Writers Guild lasted 248 days and seriously impacted production schedules for months.
Time for Pick of the Day. What did you pick?
Well, we got a triple hit, and some of them are a bit snowy. That one's, we're going to start off with that one. Yes, this one comes to us, and this is from Michelle, and she basically says, buried in the snow. Now, we will tell you this picture was taken 1 week ago today, but I still wanted to share it because it's a pretty interesting shot, and I'm glad I don't have to shovel out that car. The next one comes to us from Carol. Oh, no, this one comes to us from Cindy, and it's an Easter egg phenomenon. The egg was obviously cracked before dyeing it, and this was the result. You didn't even have to tell us. I just thought kind of a wild design there. So, and the other eggs in the egg carton behind you, very interesting-looking Easter egg. So thank you, Cindy, for sharing that image. And finally, from Carol, yes, it's Coco's first birthday, wishing she could play in the yard rather than just on the deck. Well, I hope you had a nice birthday, Coco. And if you'd like to send us an image, you can do so by sending it to cfqcnews@ctv.ca. Please put Pick of the Day in the subject line. That helps me out. And please also shoot it on the horizontal, not the vertical. Thank you.
Still to come on CTV News, classic cars on display. We meet a group of women putting their passion into high gear. The 64th annual Dragons Car Show rolled into Prairieland Park over the weekend. As Hallie Mandrick reports, one particular car club made its mark at the show as the first all-women club represented.
There's no shortage of unique vehicles at the 64th annual Dragons Rod and Custom Car Club car show, and most come along with an interesting story as well, like Donna Milligan's 58 Chev Apache Fleetside, which was brought up in pieces from Texas, and after several years of hard work, she's now happy to be showing off.
Oh, I love it. It's a rush when you get in to drive it, and I won't be giving it away or selling it because my daughter's going to take it, so it's a special family truck.
Or Deborah Arsenault's 1972 Ford Gran Torino Sport.
I've owned her for 24 years, so lots and lots of fun memories in my car, and she's big and bright and red, and I love to drive her.
Both women are part of Prairie Girls Hot Rods and Classics, a Saskatoon-based car club created 3 years ago by a group of women with a passion for cars.
There's a lot of talent in this circle. You want to know about paint, you want to know about insurance, you want to know about how to get your interior done properly and who's available to do it. There's so much knowledge of these people that come to these shows. We welcome men as well.
Para Hudoff brought her 2010 Heritage motorcycle to the show. She says groups like this one are important as more women find their place in the traditionally male-dominated field.
But when you look at these males, majority of them have wives, and they've put in the time just as much as these men have. Like there's always a woman behind every vehicle. Usually, I shouldn't say always, but usually there is, and they share just the same amount of passion, but there's just nowhere for them to go.
Many in the group expressed hope that seeing the Prairie Girls at car shows like this one will inspire the next generation of car lovers.
Just hoping that the next generation of our young girls coming out, find the same passion.
Hallie Mandrick, CTV News, Saskatoon.
When we come back, something new for the curling world, and later, the unexpected highway landing.
All right, let's take a look and see what's going on with our rural forecast. So as you can see, we've got ourselves, well, there is some snow expected as we make our way into tomorrow and, well, overnight into tomorrow. But a really interesting situation when it comes to the number of temperature discrepancies or differences is certainly -2 in Meadow Lake and Spiritwood, but it jumps up to 9 in Outlook, but just cloudy skies, windy conditions in Kindersley, 2 in Wynyard. What's going on down south? Well, here you go. We've got ourselves a real mix of conditions. Most of it is rain, but there is some snow expected up in the Kenora area and down towards Rock Glen. Yeah, thunderstorm activity, or at least a risk of a thunderstorm. So a real mix of conditions. And of course, you can see in southern Saskatchewan, a lot of double-digit temperatures in Coronach, expected to hit 16 degrees tomorrow. So some warm temperatures out there. So let's take a look and see what's going on with Vibank. Vibank expecting some rain, so they're part of that rainy situation. 11 degrees for Vibank in area, but a windy day. So please keep that in mind. It looks like it's going to be windy right across the province. And don't forget, Vibank is one of those places where internet plans of up to 1 gig are available from SaskTel.
Former Saskatchewan skip Matt Dunstone came just short of a world championship on the weekend, with Team Canada claiming a silver medal. But curling fans don't have to wait any longer for the next big event. Donovan Mace has more on a new league that kicked off earlier today with some Saskatchewan representation.
Saskatchewan curler Colton Flash has been to 9 Briers, winning gold in 2019, followed by a silver medal at the Worlds that year. He's been in several Grand Slam finals and even won a Canadian Junior Championship.
Get to play in a professional league, you know, that's just the cherry on top.
But now he can call himself a professional curler with the launch of Rock League.
So we have to really do a good job and hopefully showcase what this can be, and just it's going to be exciting. I'm not skeptical about anything, but I'm very hopeful that it's going to be bigger than what I can imagine.
On Monday, 6 professional teams hit the ice for the first time in a new take on the sport.
As for the first time ever, we see the Rock League underway.
Each team features 10 athletes, 5 men and 5 women. Matches see franchises go head-to-head in 3 games, men's 4s, women's 4s, and mixed doubles, the 3 Olympic disciplines, and features the top curlers in the game.
We've got the best athletes now from across the world, and our plan is to create an amazing league that, it's going to be super exciting to watch.
Rock League aims to revolutionize the curling experience, bringing fans right into the action.
The 4th sheet on the ice, instead of it being a curling sheet, right in the middle, we're putting in, it's like courtside seats.
And growing curling for the next generation.
Give kids a dream that if they work their butts off and they have a dream of becoming a pro curler one day and joining this Rock League.
And maybe the next Colton Flash will aspire to make it to Rock League one day.
Everyone's just got to understand it's new. It has unlimited possibilities. And, just to be able to get onto a team that's not yours traditionally.
With unlimited possibilities, there is no telling where Rock League may take the sport. Donovan May, CTV News, Regina.
Turning to local gas prices now, the average price in Saskatoon just over $1.72 a litre. The lowest price in town is $1.64.9. On Saskatchewan markets, Cameco finished the day down at $1.5375, and Nutrien was up 32 cents. Coming up, the close call on a Pennsylvania highway. Then, what one potential politician is making a splash about.
Select Hair Services brought to you by Sage, the beauty bar.
Stay with us. We've got another full night of shows for you right here tonight on CTV. Well, there was an impressive emergency landing in Pennsylvania with a plane safely touching down among the cars on a highway, and we should tell you no one was hurt.
His wings were literally from almost the center median to the grass on the other side. He didn't look like he was freaking out. He was just looking straight ahead.
Dash cam video captured the moment the small plane dropped out of the sky and onto the interstate. The 65-year-old pilot from Michigan brought the plane down safely, dodging traffic. The flight had just taken off from New Jersey and was headed to Indiana before suffering some engine problems. That's a skilled pilot.
A skilled pilot, and no doubt cool under pressure, because I would think for a lot of people that'd be like, what?
Especially if you were a driver along there, too.
Yeah, no kidding.
All right, well, a woman running to be mayor of Johannesburg has pulled off a big stunt to draw attention to the problem of potholes in the city. Donning a wetsuit, a swim cap, a mask, and a snorkel, she went snorkeling into a massive pothole left uncared for in a residential neighborhood. It's been there for years, and she says she was trying to draw attention to what she describes as years of mismanagement by city council. Looks like they've turned it into a local pool by the looks of it. Years.
It's a spa. It's just put up some nice trees around it, and suddenly it's a neighborhood spa.
A mud bath or something.
Yes, exactly. It's good for the skin. Yeah, well, and certainly not what we would describe as a pothole. Maybe a sinkhole, but it's a mud bath for somebody. We are going to be seeing a little bit more in the way of rain and snow, so there may be some muddy conditions out there as we make our way into Tuesday. Rain and snow makes clouds in the afternoon. This particular storm is mercurial.
It's something, that's for sure.
Okay.
Thanks for watching. Have a great night.